it's good to see the whole trend in a bit of a bigger window, in a bigger perspective of what has happened in tech in the last decade, where thanks to sort of fast developments of technology, every sector has started to develop software innovation and data, and therefore there's been a massive growth in what's been happening. And if you look at the European ecosystem, if you go back a decade or even 7 years or so, there were just a few isolated winners breaking through. And if you see now, there's enormous entrepreneurial success across the board in all kinds of segments. And I don't think that is slowing down. If you look at the size of innovation, you see what recently happened on GPT-3, on AI and genomics. Innovation isn't slowing down, nor is entrepreneurship. And the generation of people who've come to the market in the last decade have had this experience really kind of give energy to that market. At the same time, like you say, 2022 was very different from 2021, where the way I like to phrase it, sort of the age of entitlement is over, where in 2021, for investors, every company you touched seemed to turn into gold. For entrepreneurs, whatever you tried was working. For employees, there was amazing jobs in tech that both paid well and had great equity. And in 2021, there seemed no end to it. And in 2022, we hit the economic reality of a recession. And those cycles will always happen, even though the underlying vector of innovation keeps rising. And so we've been telling our portfolio companies, with the 25 plus experience we have in the market, that in general, you tend to see three parts to a recession. The first one is this multiple contraction that creates a different cost of capital, which leads to companies reevaluating what projects work and don't work. And as you point out, we told all of our companies, make sure you step on the brake, you have the cash, and you have 2 to 3 years to survive.
Yeah, the problem is, and I'll preface this with a book I'm sure you had a look at last year, and this was Sebastian Malaby's The Power Law, which was all about your industry. And it was a big hit for many people last year. And I think a lot of us who wanted to know more about the venture capital industry came away knowing a hell of a lot more. And one thing we came away knowing is that actually the industry doesn't expect most of its bets to work. It expects a couple of them to work out of every 10, and the rest are just going to fall by the wayside and not work. Do you think we all got into the idea before last year of thinking that it was an 8 out of 10 world or a 10 out of 10 world, where actually most of these tech companies, they're not going to make it? And that's something that investors found quite bruising last year, and probably will find more of the same this year.
Yeah, and I agree with that. It's the circumstances were relatively unnatural, where every company had so much access to capital that whether your business model was working or wasn't, you would survive and thrive. And I think right now, if I look at our portfolio, the best companies keep accelerating and doing super well because of the fundamentals of their business model and because of the wave of innovation they're surfing. But you're right, it's no longer the case that any company will survive.